Hey everybody, I'm Elizabeth Roof, and I'm glad to be here again. And I'm going to make this really short because I know I'm cutting into break. You guys are all looking like, so I know you all need coffee, so I will try to make this quick. So I'm actually working with a research team who actually got a recently funded study looking at other ways to measure hyperphagia in Prader-Willi syndrome. You know, we developed a questionnaire a few years ago, and it's been used a lot for kind of asking parents how much their kids' appetite is, what kinds of things they do they take food, do they ask about food. And we actually found some really cool ways to look at other ways to actually look at how hungry people are, what their interest is in food. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about a study that's going on right now. So should you want to participate, there's some exclusion-inclusion criteria, but they're actually here now doing those things. So hyperphagia, we all know, starts gradually. It's lifelong concern, but it's really hard to measure objectively. And even for drug studies, companies are really struggling with this idea of, I am looking at you and trying to figure out how hungry you are. You know, if I looked at all you guys, it'd be really hard for me to figure that out too. And for you guys, you're really vigilant about watching your kid, what they eat, how much they eat, all those kinds of things. So we're trying to find other ways to measure it objectively. So this study may offer a better way to do that, and we're really excited about this pilot measure of looking at people, what they watch, and what their brains do when they look at pictures of food and pictures of non-food. So we're looking to figure out if we can use these to actually kind of back up some of the questionnaires that we use, especially in young children. For people who aren't hyperphagic yet, every parent's like, oh, when's it gonna happen? Is it now? And so this is an idea that we could actually kind of catch it before it happens. So it's not invasive. They're basically looking at a computer. It takes just a few minutes. It's objective, it's direct. They don't have to have really a whole lot of, cognitive process. You're literally looking at a bunch of pictures on a screen, and it's pictures of food, pictures of common objects, and pictures of a really cute animal. So we're really interested in kind of what people do, and we don't ask them to respond. They just look at the pictures, and we watch where their eyes go. We also put on a little soft net on their head that takes about 6 minutes, and we get real-time effects to what they're watching. And it's funny because for a lot of kids, especially if they're older, if you show them pictures of food, and we've done this for, I don't even know, 20 years, they'll go, no, I wouldn't eat that. I'm like, But then when we do these brain studies, their brain says, oh yeah, I would eat that. So it's really cool. We don't have to worry about placebo effects. So it's this idea that we can actually do that. And for a lot of you, you've actually been in our studies, and we've been doing this for years, but this is kind of a shorter, faster way. And these pictures are a really new way to do eye tracking alone. And so it literally is looking at a laptop. And for most of you kids who are older, you like looking at laptops. It's all good. So we want to figure out if eye tracking and brain measures differ or they're the same. And so for a lot of you, I've actually already done a little interview once you've signed a consent form to ask you about hyperphagia, how much your kid is interested in food, if they have behavior problems related to that. And we're collecting it here and at Case Western with Anastasia Dimitropoulos. So she's another site for us. And so we're trying to collect 30 people. It's actually, I think, going to be 60 overall, 30 at each site with PWS, and then 30 controls. So we actually want to look at typical folks, because the FDA always asks us, so what about typical folks? So we're like, I don't know, we don't look at typical folks, but now we're looking at them to see what their responses are and how similar they are. So your siblings, should they be here, could also participate if they're the right age. So are these brain responses specific to PWS? And since we're looking at controls and PWS, we should be able to figure that out. So the current study, you could have deletion or UPD. Again, siblings are welcome. 3 to 12 is our age. All you have to do is sit and watch a computer screen for 5 to 10 minutes. It needs to be within 90 minutes after a meal or snack. We want to make sure people are kind of adequately fed. We don't want to make sure that everyone's hungry when they watch it or totally eaten. So it has to be this kind of thing, so they can actually work that out with you guys. They're going to look at a picture. They're going to wear a soft hairnet. Both of my kids, who are now grown, have done these studies for years. They've always gone, gosh, Mom, why do we have to do it? Well, because if you can do it, then I can ask other people to do it. So it's really not hard. Ask some general knowledge questions, measure height and weight, complete a hyperphagia questionnaire and a nutritional phase interview with me or Case Western. And if you're interested, you're going to actually text Rita at that number to sign up. So I was going to say, I'm going to leave that up for a sec, and you guys are going to look at that if you want to text it. And then I'm going to talk about one quick thing that is an online questionnaire or a paper questionnaire that we'd like people to do. So has everybody got the number? Anybody need me to leave it up for a second? Okay, good. I'm going to move on. So we're doing a new PWS outcome measure looking specifically at environmental controls. what do you do to control food and food access and kinds of those like opportunities in your house and in your environment. So we're looking for people to do an online questionnaire. It takes 15 minutes. It gives us a lot of ideas about how people differ on managing food environment. A lot of you folks lock things up and you do all these great things, but it's funny, if you go out into the regular community of other people with PWS, they don't do those things. So we want to figure out how people, when they're treated with medications like the ones they're talking about in clinical trials, once those things change, what do people where are they able to kind of ease up on? Do they have to lock things? Are they able to go out to a restaurant? Do they take their kids grocery shopping? Those kinds of things. So we're really interested to figure out how those things change in regards to drug treatments. So there's a QR code. You guys can actually just, if you want to click it, you can go to the link and fill it out if you haven't already done so. And it's really easy to do. We can email the link to you. And then I have a couple of questionnaires, and I think somebody's got a yellow folder somewhere. So do you want to do a paper copy? You can do that as well. That's it.